Should we start with outside?
Up to you. He said he was going to be here. I'm sure he's going to be here. We have to come back. Yeah.
Just making sure everybody can hear us here in the chambers. Perfect, thank you.
Okay, everybody can hear me? Okay, well, I will now call this meeting to order at 6:03. Welcome to the City of Hollister Planning Commission meeting of May 27th, 2021. Can I have the verification of agenda posting, please?
Certainly, Chairperson Huboy. The agenda for tonight's Planning Commission meeting was posted on Friday, May 21st, 2021 at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Abraham.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Munzer, would you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, would you please rise? Ready? Salute.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Okay. A roll call, please.
Certainly. Commissioner Seth Munzer,
Here.
Commissioner Jose Fernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens,
Here,
Chairperson David Huboy.
Here.
And I will note that Commissioner Salvador Mora is not in. He did indicate, though, that he would be attending in person, so he should be hopefully arriving soon.
Okay, hopefully he comes soon.
Thank you.
All right, ask for approval of minutes dated April 22nd, 2021. Everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? I entertain a motion for approval.
I'm gonna abstain because I was.
You
last meeting,
abstain,
yeah.
okay. Jose?
yeah, me too. So I'm wondering if we need to wait for Commissioner Moore to get there because I was also not present at the last one.
Let's wait until the end of the meeting and we'll go back to the minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson Huboy.
Communications from public on items not listed on the agenda. Does anyone fill out a speaker card? Abraham, in the virtual audience?
Thank you, Chairperson Huboy. We have various members of the audience virtually, but none have raised their hand for this topic.
Okay. So without anyone from the public wishing to speak, we go into public hearings. Number 1, Site and Architectural Review 2021-3, Conditional Use Permit 2021-2. Crocker's Lockers, Hollister LLC. The applicant is requesting site and architectural review approval for a self-storage facility on 4.27 acre, equivalent to 18,600, that's 18, I think that's 601.2 square feet lot, consisting of 4 single-story storage buildings and a 2-story manager's office residence with a total build-out of 97,099 square feet fronting Fallon Road. The property is located within the light industrial M1 zoning district at 90 Fallon Road, further identified as San Benito County Assessor's Parcel 018 CEQA is categorically exempt.
Thank you, Chairperson Hiboy, for the introduction. I will have our Associate Planner, Eva Kelly, do the staff report presentation on this item. Eva, were you gonna manage the PowerPoint, or did you want Paul to?
Yes, I'll go ahead and share my screen and start the PowerPoint now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that working for everyone? Full screen display?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So yes, as mentioned, this item is Site and Architectural Review 2020-3, Conditional Use Permit 2021-2. The applicant is requesting site and architectural approval to construct a self-storage facility with 4 single-story storage buildings and a 2-story manager's office / residence, which totals 97,099 square feet of build out on a 4.27 acre site. And this is in conjunction with a conditional use permit to both allow a self-storage facility within 500 feet of San Felipe Road, as well as to allow an on-site manager's residence. And this project is located in the light industrial zoning district at 90 Fallon Road. This is the proposed floor plan of the storage buildings with potential future change that you can see in the bottom kind of right or left of your screen. That's a potential future change to the internal units for building E. The south elevation of the project will face Fallon Road, and this contains the main entrance to the site. Beginning on the west corner of the building, so this would be the top left where there's a sign that says self-storage. There's going to be a faux storefront entrance with stucco and brick accents and a location for signage. And then continuing on, there'll be a stucco wall, which will be broken up by trellises along large stretches of the wall. And there'll be sections of architectural build-outs, which have corrugated metal finishing and wood siding throughout as we continue across Fallon Road to the east. And the main entrance to the facility will have a tube steel rolling gate, which has a keypad entry for the patrons to go inside to the storage facility. And this will be located near the center of this south elevation. And directly to the east of the main entrance gate will be the 2-story manager's office and residence. The main entrance tower will have wood siding and a glass storefront entrance door with a window on the 2nd story and the residence portion, as well as an area for signage. And then the main body of the manager's office will be stucco with the brick accents for trim. Continuing to the east of the elevation along the project frontage, there'll be another section of architectural build out with the metal and brick siding variations and additional trellises along portions of the stucco concrete tilt-up walls. Moving to the west elevation of the project, this will face Technology Parkway, beginning at the northern end of the property. So again, beginning at the top left of your screen and moving to the right and then down below, left to right. There will be a concrete tilt-up wall, which forms the end of building B. And then this will have a central architectural build out with wood siding and a location for signage. And to the south of building B, this will be a secondary emergency access gate with similar tube fencing. And then the remainder of the elevation of the street facing side of building E. And this will contain portions of concrete tilt-up wall, which is broken by trellises, architectural build-outs of metal, wood, and brick finishes, similar to the build-outs on the front elevation. And finally, on the southwest corner of the site in the lower right-hand side of your screen, that is at the corner of Technology Parkway and Fallon Road, and there'll be a faux storefront that wraps around from the south elevation to this west elevation with stucco siding and another location for signage. Finally, the east elevation will face private property, and this contains only concrete tilt-up walls, as you can see, and this elevation is not visible from the right-of-way, so it is just a plain rear / side of the building. The interior elevations of each of the storage buildings consist of metal roll-up doors for various storage units, and all of the interior entrance doors, which leads to the interior storage units, will be double metal swing doors with lighted entryways. And each building will have a galvanized sheet metal wall caps to trim the elevation. The landscaping on the site will consist of various trees, shrubs, vines, and ground cover, and there'll be a total of 29,878 square feet of landscaping throughout the site. And that is 16% lot coverage of landscaping, which exceeds the 10% requirement of section 1710.030 of the municipal code. And the landscaping will be located along both project frontages on Fallon Road to the south and Technology Parkway to the west, within the setback from the right-of-way to the buildings. The landscaping will also be placed inside of the curved areas along the entrance to the property on Fallon Road, and it'll be within the parking lot and the manager's office. City of Hollister Municipal Code Section 1718.060 requires 1 parking space for each 10,000 square feet of gross floor area, as well as 2 spaces for any resident manager for self-storage facilities, so for this use. And the applicant is proposing 5 parking spaces, which you can see here on Fallon Road. And this includes 1 ADA space, as well as a 1-car garage, which you can see in the rear, which is for the manager's unit. The project proposing 97,099 square feet of gross floor area, as well as a manager's unit, would equate to 12 total parking spaces being required. So the project does not meet the parking requirements of the municipal code. However, the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to reduce the parking requirements on the site. And this is because the storage facility is not anticipated to have an excess of customers which need to park outside of the entrance gate in this parking lot area. The majority of the use of the facility will be used by the patrons who drive their vehicles inside of the entrance gate to the storage facility, and they can park their cars along the road and in front of their storage units out of the way of the main drive aisles, which are wide enough for other vehicles to continue to drive through. So therefore, additional parking spaces are not necessary in the parking lot area for patrons, and they'll only be used by a few customers at a time who need to directly access the office rather than accessing their storage unit. If needed, an additional vehicle could be parked behind the manager's unit as well to provide that second parking space requirement, but there's nothing actually striped out on the plans. So this parking requirement too is met by the layout of the site, but it's not through a designated space. So that would be part of the conditional use permit request. The applicant is requesting approval along with the site and architectural review for a freestanding monument sign, which is located in the landscaping area along Fallon Road and near the entrance gate frontage. The sign is 6 foot 6 inches in height and 10 foot in width. And the sign face will be the top 3 feet of the sign, with the base having a stone veneer finish, as you can see. And the sign face itself, which will be a total of 30 square feet, and that's consistent with section 1720.120 of the code, which permits up to 1 freestanding sign with up to 50 square feet of signage in this industrial zoning district, or they could propose 2 freestanding signs which have no greater than 32 square feet of signage each. And this is consistent with both. And there's only 1 proposed monument sign for the site. In addition to the request for a parking reduction, the applicant is requesting conditional use permit approval, which will allow the construction and operation of the self-storage facility with a manager's use on this property. Pursuant to section 1710.020, a caretaker and employee housing, such as being proposed here, is permitted with the approval of an administrative CUP, and personal storage facilities are not permitted within 500 feet of Highway 25 or San Felipe Road. And the applicant has requested an exception to this rule to allow the self-storage facility at this site at 90 Fallon Road, which is about 100 feet to the east of San Felipe Road. And so the applicant brought this item before the city council previously to request this exception because there is a buffer of Technology Parkway between the project site and San Felipe Road. And Technology Parkway has existing mature trees and landscaping, which obscures the view of the project site from San Felipe. And it was determined that while the intent of the zoning code was likely to prevent self-storage facilities from affecting the aesthetics of the entrance to the north kind of gateway of Hollister from San Felipe Road, as well as Highway 25. This site is uniquely located behind Technology Parkway. And at the time, staff's recommendation to the council was to direct staff to bring forward a zoning code amendment to clarify this section of the code if direction was given to permit this use. However, the city council directed the applicant to instead return with a request for a conditional use permit to allow this use on the specific project site. On this slide, you'll see the floor plan for the manager's office / residence. Again, administrative CUP is typically required for employee housing in the industrial area, but because they also require discretionary site and architectural, this use is before you as well. And the bottom floor will contain the reception and office space with a restroom and a rear office, as well as the manager's one-car garage. And then the second floor will contain the manager's living space with a bedroom, a den, a living room, kitchen, and a full bathroom. Here is a rendering of the manager's building and the main entrance off of Fallon Road. And then finally, here's a rendering of the view from Technology Parkway. And then there were a few conditions that staff is proposing amendments to from the conditions of approval for the SNA, for the site and architectural resolution. Staff's been working with the applicant on these changes as well as our engineering division. The first change proposed is a slight modification to condition 4, which adds the planning department, the city planning department, for approval for changes to the project. This is our standard condition number 4. The next change requested is to remove conditions 9 and 10. These are with regard to demolition permits and demoing existing structures, and there are no structures on the site which need demolition. So we're proposing to remove conditions 9 and 10 for that reason, as they're not relevant to the project. Condition 26 just had a spelling error. The draft condition read contracted. USA North should be contracted, but it should read contacted. So a spelling request change for condition 26. For these next couple of conditions, the engineering department proposes modifications to conditions 34, 37, 38, and 39, which consolidate some repetitive conditions regarding stormwater. The modification here to condition 34 adds language regarding the Water Quality Control Board resolution for post-construction stormwater requirements. If you'd like me to read it, I can, but otherwise I'll leave it here for just a moment. It references post-construction resolution R3 2013-0032. And then with the addition to condition 34 on the last slide, condition 37 with all of this language can be eliminated as it's redundant. So that's a request for condition 37. And then condition 38, again, regarding stormwater requirements, this is proposed by our engineering department to simplify and clarify the language regarding stormwater prevention plans. And this condition has been drafted by our engineering department. So it modifies the condition to reference a stormwater prevention plan and eliminates quite a bit of redundant language at the end here. And again, with the previous proposed changes, condition 39 is also redundant and proposed to be removed. And I do have these all summarized for you at the end, so you don't have to remember them all. Condition 44 is proposed to correct a typo and modify the dedication requirements for the project to say that they are as needed by the engineering department, because much of the right-of-way along the project frontages on Technology and Fallon is actually already dedicated to the city. So they would be required to dedicate anything necessary, but nothing more than that. Condition 46 was proposed to be amended to state that the on-site fire hydrants should be privately rather than publicly maintained. So the previous condition has been amended. Condition 47 regarding water sampling isn't necessary for this project, so it's proposed to be removed. This amendment proposal to condition 55 is a quick typo here. Lines was spelled wrong. Condition 69 had an error where there was a requirement for a CO2 monitoring system plan. And per the fire department, this isn't a requirement for this type of use. It's more of a cannabis use requirement. And so the condition has been amended to state that the applicant shall install fire suppression and alarm systems as required by the fire code. Condition 81, this is sorry for the small font. This is regarding the Fallon Road and Technology Parkway frontage improvements. The engineering department has proposed these conditions amendments to indicate the actual required road improvements on both frontages. So it changes timing from issuance to final approval, clarifies irrigation and street lighting here. And then for technology, it talks about the existing back of the sidewalk because Technology Parkway is improved. And then condition 82 has been modified to include only roads in the vicinity instead of on the project site, as there's no on-site roads. And finally, for condition amendments, condition 87 has been amended to correctly reference the renumbered condition 82 if all proposed amendments are accepted by the Planning Commission. Otherwise, we will amend this to correctly reference whichever is the ultimate number for the continuous maintenance condition. And the very last thing is staff recommends the addition of a new condition regarding trash enclosures that would read all trash enclosures shall be covered, designed to prevent run-on drainage, designed to contain any wash water and plumbed to the sanitary sewer system. And this will be placed between conditions 51 and 52 of the draft resolution. And again, if all conditions are accepted, all changes are accepted, this would become the new condition number 47. And with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make the following two motions. The first would be to adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review 2021-3 with amendments to conditions 4, 26, 34, 38, 44, 46, 55, 69, 81, 82, and 87. The deletion of conditions 9, 10, 37, 39, and 47, and the inclusion of a new condition regarding trash enclosures as previously discussed. And then secondly, adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit 2021-2, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Eva. Any questions on the staff report?
No,
We're good?
I have none at this time.
Okay. And I'll open up the public hearing now at 6:24. Any speakers on this item?
Thank you, Chairman Huboy. Yes, we have some speakers today, and the first one is Ann Hall. Ann, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, Ann.
Good evening. First, I'd like to say thank you to staff for working with us to clarify some of this language. As you can see, Eva spent some time on that and we appreciate it. But there is one condition I wanted to follow up on. And that was specifically in, I think it's now condition 77A. It talks about relocating the water line in Fallon Road, along the Fallon Road frontage. The water line is currently located in the right of way, but once all the road improvements are done, it will end up behind, if it stayed where it was, it would end up behind the face of curb. And this is not desirable. I understand that. However, this location of the water line is not unique to this property. It's like this all the way down Fallon Road, including the areas where there already is improved sidewalk. But we do understand the city's desire to move the water line in front and, move it over. But this seems to be more of fixing an existing problem than a direct result of this project. So the applicant would like to ask if this is eligible for any type of reimbursement, since it seems to be more of a capital improvement than a project-related improvement.
What number condition was that? I don't see 77A, Ann.
I think it's 81 on the original one.
It would be 81A on your resolution.
What is it? 81?
81A and on page 13 of 15.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So it's, yeah.
81A, third sentence.
Since our time is running, Mr. Chairman, do you want to let her continue?
Uh,
That way we can,
Yes.
I'm not sure if she's done or not. but-
Yeah, so while we're reviewing that condition, she has additional time. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But that was really the extent of my question. I think we have no issue with the remainder of the conditions. But this one, again, we understand why you want it moved. We're just asking, it's a big expense that we hadn't really planned on, and we were just asking if it was eligible for any type of reimbursement as a capital improvement. And
Okay, any other, does that conclude your,
yes, that concludes my
Yeah.
question.
yeah? Okay.
Thank you.
Any other, next speaker, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Hiboy. Our next speaker is Jason Noble. Jason, can you hear us?
Yes, good evening, Abraham. Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank Eva for teaching Ann how to unmute her cell phone at the general plan study session so we can hear her. Thank you so much. I was able to speak to some of the planning commissioners before the meeting, but I just wanted to reiterate that at the encouragement of City Attorney Jason Epperson, we brought this before the City Council. And even though Eva spoke to it, I just wanted to let everyone know or remind them that the City Council voted 5-0 in favor of making the exception for the project being within the 500-foot buffer. Also at the City Council meeting, we brought forth, and I don't know if they're in your packets, but we brought forth letters from many of the neighbors and businesses in the vicinity of the project, all in support of it. I just wanted to point out that Mr. Crocker, who has a tremendous history in construction of projects such as this, this is a Class A building, and I think we're very fortunate to see a project like this come forth in Hollister. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Jason. And by the way, normally I disclose this before the staff report, but Jason did come by the office and he was granted 3 minutes to give me just for general information only.
Very well. Thank you, Commissioner Hiboy, Chairperson Hiboy. We do not have any additional speakers, Chairperson Hiboy.
Okay. I will close the public hearing now at 6:30. Bring it back to the commission. All these conditions. We'll play on words there. So, I'm looking at it's a conditional use permit based on the use, but we're also looking at the parking reduction and also the issue that of the 300-foot buffer requirement that was, in my view, and I remember when that came up, I was on the commission at that time. I remember it was Charlie Scott who brought that up, and that was primarily for Highway 25 as the issue there. I look at the site design on this particular project, and it's nice to see that. It's a nice landscape buffer along Technology Parkway and also on Fallon Road. So if you look at the intention of that 300-foot buffer, it was primarily for aesthetics. And I think in this, if we look at, I know that the virtual audience, well, it's not I can see the photographic displays here, but I think in terms of the aesthetics, the architecture of the two-story element, manager's office gives it a nice focal point. I've seen a lot of these storage facilities. I mean, you talk about what brings you back to the memories of post-war cookie-cutter architecture. This isn't that. This is more of a thought-out, well-designed project, and I think a lot of work went into this, so I think it certainly would benefit that in M1 industrial zone by permitting this use for sure. The parking requirement, I agree with the narrative there. That's normally in those stalls are for parking your car right there, going into the office, signing up for a storage space, or the business dealings to have a parking spaces close to the manager's office does make sense. But when you're actually in the storage yard, you park next to the unit and there's plenty of space to get around. So I don't have any problems with the parking. The conditions, I think the conditions are fine. The one that Ann brought up, I'd like to just to say if we do approve this project, we could approve it with the caveat that condition number 81, would need to be worked out with the staff regarding the expenditure of moving the water line. So those are my comments. Other comments, Jose?
This storage system is like the one over by Morgan Hill, right? The appearance.
Correct. Off of 101 between the end of Gilroy and the hospital.
Yeah, that's a very nice building. This looks really nice. I agree with the commissioner, except for the water line question. I don't know a lot about that, so I trust the expert over here making the good points.
Thank you.
But otherwise, I think everything else seems to be fair. It is a good looking building. My storage locker in Salinas looks like a bunker, basically. When you drive up to it, it's like, this is very pleasing to the eye, I think.
I agree. I think quite some bit of time went into the aesthetics of this project to make it, albeit a storage facility that has a redundancy because of the nature of the project. It certainly does have some nice features in the landscaping, and tied into that, I think it makes it into an attractive project. Seth?
I'm going to have to agree with what has been said here. And then in regards to condition 81, that I would just say that the applicant works with the planning department to resolve that, is where I would be on that item.
Okay. Roxanne? That's quite a statement there. I don't know, Roxanne. You don't
Can you
know.
hear me?
Yeah, you're.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm just having like serious audio problems with my laptop, so I'm trying to work with my cell phone and my laptop. And anyway, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I have a really quick question about condition 81. I just would like to get a little bit of information from staff about why that was a condition initially, because if what Ms. Hall is saying is accurate, that it's not really part of the project, then I'm just curious why that is even a condition in the first place. I'm just trying to better understand.
Do we have anyone from Public Works that might be able to shed some light on that, Abraham?
Yes, we do, Chairperson Huboy, and thank you for that. Also, Commissioner Stevens, we do have our acting city engineer, Mark Falgo, on the line. The engineering department helps with the preparation of the conditions of approval that require utilities. And so, Mark, can you hear us?
I can.
Thank you.
Hi. So the water line is, from a city maintenance standpoint, we'd prefer it to be under the asphalt in the roadway instead of under a new concrete walk that is part of this project. In addition, the project there's a condition to underground the overhead lines that are on Fallon Road, and that underground line will very likely go underneath the sidewalk. and will be too close to the existing water line. That's the preferred location for the undergrounding. So we kill two birds with one stone. We free up the area to underground those overhead lines, and we get at the same time get the water line out in the pavement where the city prefers it for maintenance purposes. And these are caused by the project frontage improvements, essentially.
Could the water line possibly be protected by a sleeve if it's under the pavement?
Well, the issue, well, it could be, but it's not typical construction when it's under pavement. It's usually not sleeved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
And you know, part of the issue here too is that PG&E and the other utilities that may be on that overhead line are going to need more than a couple feet of separation between a pressurized water line and their electricity and cable and telephone, et cetera.
Well, that makes sense. From what I understand and what Mark is telling us, that it's a requirement to separate the water line from the utilities, and that the pavement, it creates a maintenance issue down the line. So, I mean,
Well, it sounds like it's something that is very costly, and I don't know that I would agree that we would take that condition out of if we make the approval. I kind of like, I do like what Commissioner Munzer said about maybe having them work with staff and try to resolve this issue. Because I do think it's a big issue. It could be really costly. So rather than just
this is similar to the project we talked about for the Taco Bell facility, about the costs involved undergrounding there, and then it took some time to look into getting some more research on the cost, and I don't think it's a good use of our time tonight to analyze that. That's why I suggest I concur with Chairman Munzer that this issue would need to be worked out with the building staff and planning staff so that they can analyze this with more definitive information. And that includes cost.
So is this more of a, because it seems like this is something that the city planning, that the city would like to see probably with future projects down the road. Is the city going to make it a requirement to approach, or has there been consideration if any other business or any other project that's currently along the road, are they going to ask those businesses to do the same thing as what we're asking with this development? And that's one. And then the second thing is, because it does, after reading it and kind of hearing the explanation of why we want this done, seems like it's more of what the city would like to see. So if that's the case, it's kind of like, hey, we're getting someone else to do the work for us or cover the cost, which doesn't seem fair, in my opinion. At least the possibility of either splitting the cost, sharing the cost with the developer at the very least, especially if what they originally proposed isn't illegal or against any ordinance that we have. I think that might be something to explore as well, and at least be fair about it. Something I'd like for you guys to explore as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Mora. Typically, when it comes to, like, for example, the example that Chairperson Huvoy brought up on undergrounding, in the past, we've seen that normally it's a requirement whenever there's a project that's coming in, especially one where there's a vacant lot. We require all the frontage improvements, sidewalk, curb, gutter. That's when we require staff. What would be for the best interest of the community, for the infrastructure of the community, for the safety of the community, what would be the best? And in this particular case, the vacant lot that's in the corner where there's overhead utilities, we would require, it's a typical requirement that the applicant, since they're going to be placing sidewalk, curb, and gutter, that they underground all of the utilities. In the past, we've had some concerns in regards to existing areas, like in where the Taco Bell example that you provided, Chairperson Huboy, where there's already existing overhead utilities over existing development, and so it's kind of difficult to require one. There's lines, overhead utilities all along the road, and then all of a sudden, because one project is doing some adjustments to it, require them to underground. It's kind of an issue, and so we're definitely considering that and that option. In the case of parcels like this that are vacant, and as development starts occurring throughout, we would require that same condition to all the projects as development occurs. Everybody will continue to underground. In regards to the particular matter on the water line aspect, Mark, would they, to answer Commissioner Mora's question, with the relocation of the water line to where it's proposed per condition 81A, is that then going to require then as others develop? I'm assuming that they're going to be just required to be extending that line at the location where it's being proposed.
I would foresee a very similar condition of approval on anybody else that's up the road that would be adding frontage improvements like sidewalk, so that we could get the water line out of the sidewalk and into the road to provide a free space so we can underground that entire stretch.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the undergrounding is part of the reason for doing this. We got to provide a clear space for it. The other part is that, yeah, the city wants the water line out of the sidewalk. The water line was currently was put under there was no sidewalk there before.
So it's a little different in this particular case, because in this specific case, you have a section of line that will conceivably be relocated because they're pouring a new sidewalk. But then once that section of sidewalk is poured, the line continues where its original location outside the property. So it's not a shared issue such as the undergrounding the overlines for the Taco Bell, because that benefited the other properties, and work was proposed for the Taco Bell owner to underground those lines that would benefit adjoining properties. In this particular case, the expense that is involved in relocating that line is only site specific.
Correct.
And then once development occurs outside of that area, the same condition would have, depending on the location of the water line, it would have to be the same condition for any other developer of another site with the same situation where the water line is currently in the location of where the new walk would have to be poured.
Correct.
So, I want to keep that condition because we need to have that water line relocated. So I want to keep it. Now, who pays for it? I don't think it's a planning commission's purview to say that. So I just want to, that needs to be negotiated with either the city planning, building staff, city manager, and the applicant. I don't think that the planning commission would make a judgment on that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I've never done that in my 16 years sitting here.
Chairperson Huboy, I know that
Yes.
you closed the public hearing at 6:30 this afternoon for this item, but I just want to let you know that we do have a hand raised from a speaker. It's up to you and the commission if you want to reopen it or if you want to keep it closed.
I'll reopen the public hearing for this one speaker. Open up the public hearing at 6:45.
Ed Boersma? Ed, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Thanks for the time. I'm the designer of the facility, and I just wanted to offer to the city that the developer would be happy to offer a widened public utility easement to accommodate both the water line and the undergrounding of the overhead. As we don't really need that frontage, we're happy to offer that to the city for the maintenance of a water line. And the expense of moving a 12-inch water line that's 400 feet long is an undue burden on this facility. Thank you.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing now at 6:45 or 14 minutes to 7.
Commissioner Huboy, so I just wanted to chime in. I mean, I do appreciate the comment that was just made, and I think that that's kind of the purpose of going back to working with the staff. I mean, I think those are the kinds of things that I think they can work together on.
I agree with
And if that seems to be a reasonable alternative, then I would fully support that. So I think, having those kind of ideas and suggestions that can make it easier for both parties, I think that's exactly what we should be shooting for. So I would really like to see them come back together and try to
on that condition. Regarding that condition.
Right. I mean, in general, I'm in favor of this project. I think it's a great project. I think it looks great. I think it's something that will be useful to our community. I think it's a good project. I just don't want to make a decision about this when I feel like there is an opportunity for some resolution if they just, there's just a little bit more negotiation or some, like sharing of ideas. I think it can get resolved.
It's a little difficult to have this come up at this time when you think about it, ideas like an easement and such can be entertained in a further discussion. Sure.
I was just going to say, what the last speaker had said, that just continues to go with what we're saying is they can work something out with the staff and in regards to that condition. So I think there's something that they can come to an agreement on, and I think it can be handled at the staff level regarding that condition.
I agree. Okay, any other comments on this item? I entertain a motion. We have two on this particular item. We have the first motion would be pertaining to the site and architectural.
Correct.
And then the second motion would cover the conditional use permit.
That's correct, Chairperson Hubo. And we do have the recommendation on the screen as well.
That's PC resolution 2021-3.
Yeah, for the resolution number, it's actually, this one's going to be for site and architecture 2021-3 would be resolution number 2021-12.
I will make the motion to adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review 2021-3 with the amendments and conditions to 4, 26, 34, 38, 44, 46, 55, 69, 81 with the conditions that we spoke about, that the applicant works with the staff, conditions 82 and 87, and the deletions of conditions 9, 10, 37, 39, and 47, and the inclusion of the new condition regarding the trash enclosure as discussed.
I have a motion. Further discussion on that motion? Do I have a second?
I second.
Jose second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And the item has been approved.
Chairperson Huboy, can we do a roll call vote for the Zoom, please?
Most certainly.
Thank
Roll
you.
call on this vote, please, Abraham.
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Munzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mora,
Aye.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Stevens,
Aye.
Chairperson Huboy.
Aye.
Thank you. It's a unanimous approval.
Congratulations and good luck on your project.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job. Now we go on to
The
item-
second one is for the conditional use permit, Commissioner Huboy.
Oh, the conditional use permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion for the conditional use permit.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution approving conditional use permit 2021-2, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution.
I have a motion. Any further discussion on that motion?
So the discussion, I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Conditional use permit has been.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hugh Boyd, Jason Epperson here. Ms. Kelly was correct. Since we are on Zoom and some of the commissioners are via Zoom, I'd ask that all votes this evening be done by roll call, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney Epperson. And just for the record, that is for conditional use permit number 2021-2 is PC resolution number 2021-13. And with that, we will start a roll call vote, and we'll start with Commissioner Seth Munzer.
Aye.
Commissioner Salvador Mora.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose Fernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens.
Roxanne?
Aye.
And Chairperson David Huboy.
Aye.
Thank you. The vote is unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Now we go on to item number 2, tentative map 2021-1, conditional use permit 2021-6 for a planned unit development, site and architectural review 2021-4. Located at 1620 Buena Vista LLC, the applicant is requesting project approval to subdivide an 11.10 acre parcel into 130 multi-family units across 48 duplex and triplex buildings. The applicant is requesting conditional use permit for a planned unit development approval to request flexibility with the City of Hollister setback requirements. This project site is located within the medium density residential performance overlay R3-M/PZ zoning district at 1620 Buena Vista Road. Further identified as San Benito County Assessor Parcel Number 019-110-031. CEQA Mitigated Negative Declaration.
Thank you, Chairperson Huboy. We'll have our colleague Eva Kelly do the presentation on this item as well.
Thank you. Yes, item 2 is for a tentative map conditional use permit for planned unit development and site and architectural review. This applicant is proposing to subdivide an 11.1 acre parcel into 130 multifamily units across 48 duplex and triplex buildings. And the applicant is requesting conditional use permit for planned unit development approval to request flexibility within the City of Hollister setback requirements. And the project site is located at 1620 Buena Vista Road, as you can see on your screen, on the north side of Buena Vista, within the medium density residential performance overlay, the R3-MPZ zoning district. The applicant, again, the site is 11.10 acres and it's proposing to be subdivided into 48 lots, which will have multifamily development, and then there'll be 28 additional parcels, which will be for open space and landscaping throughout the site. The project will provide private roads throughout the project site, and it will have access off of Buena Vista Road to the south here, which is directly across from Vista View Lane. And it will also have direct access to Carriage Road here, which is in the currently under construction Mirabella 2, also called the Westfield subdivision, which is directly to the east of the project site. The project will contain a total of 14 duplexes, so 28 units, and 34 triplexes, which is 102 units, which is a total of 130 multifamily units throughout the whole project. The project includes parcel L15 here on the east boundary, which is a 25,460 square foot parcel, about 0.6 acres, which will expand the public park within the Mirabella 2 subdivision to the east to create a total public park area of about 3 acres. And the applicant will provide a 20-foot privately maintained landscape buffer here along the south, along Buena Vista Road, which is between the right-of-way and the proposed sound wall to help eliminate the visual impacts of the sound wall along the corridor and to provide a natural area which can be improved for passive recreation and increase the comfort of pedestrians using the area. So that there's an 84-foot right-of-way on Buena Vista, and then the applicant's proposing this additional 20-foot of privately maintained landscape buffer between the sound wall. A conditional use permit for planned unit development, CUP for a PUD, allows for developments to have some flexibility within the general development and site layout standards while protecting the integrity and the character of residential areas in the city. It encourages innovation and development of affordable housing or housing that's more affordable compared to standard market rate single family homes. And it also ensures consistency with the general plan. For example, the minimum lot size requirements within the medium density R3 zoning district are 5,000 square feet for a single unit, 6,800 square feet for 2 units, and 10,000 square feet for 3 units. And the performance overlay zoning district allows for a CUP for PUD to create variation that allows unique housing developments. The applicant's requesting the following variations for development requirements for the project. They are requesting a reduction in the minimum lot size. For the smallest duplex lot, they're proposing 3,165 square feet. And for the smallest triplex lot in the subdivision, they're proposing 4,653 square feet. The request is in compliance with section 1714.010, which is the section regarding residential performance overlay zoning districts and PUDs. And this allows a reduction per the PUD for the lot size to no less than 2,500 square feet. So 3,100 and 4,600, they're still above that 2,500 minimum that they could request approval from the Planning Commission for. And so they are requesting a reduction from the standard lot size to their smaller lots. The overall density of the development is still 11.7 units per acre, which is consistent with the medium density residential zoning district, which allows between 8 to 12 units per acre. So despite their lot size reduction request, they're still maintaining the integrity of the medium density residential, and actually this allows them to get up to that higher end. In addition to lot size minimal variation, the applicant's also requesting variations in the setbacks and lot coverage from the R3 standards. Looking at the screen, the standards you see before you are modified from the draft resolution and the staff report. Over the past few days, staff's been working with the applicant to clarify the required setbacks for the proposal. And in order to accommodate some of the architectural features shown in the plans, there are additional considerations for the second floor cantilevers, as well as architectural features encroachments, which are being proposed to you tonight. Condition number 5 of the CUP resolution, and I'll also show that again near the end of the presentation, is proposed to be modified to the setbacks you see on the screen and also on the following slide. So for the front yard setback to the residence, they are proposing a reduction from standard 15 feet to 3 feet, with also an allowance for second floor cantilevers to encroach into that 3-foot setback up to 18 inches. For the front yard setback to the garage, they're actually proposing 2-car garages for each unit with no driveway space. And I'll get to parking in a little bit, but they do meet our parking requirements still. So they're requesting to bring these units to the front and right up to the private roads with a 3-foot setback request. For the rear, they're maintaining the 10-foot standard setback. However, they are requesting to allow second floor cantilevers and architectural features to encroach into that 10-foot setback up to 18 inches. For the interior side yard of all of their units, they are proposing to maintain the standard 5-foot setback. However, they are requesting that uninhabitable architectural elements be allowed to encroach into the setbacks up to 24 inches. So this would be for any porch features or kind of architectural build outs on the sides of their building proposals. And then for corner lots for their side yard, our standard requirement is 10 feet measured from the property line to the residence, and also for fences on corner street side lots, it's also a 10-foot from property line to fence, and they can get an approval from a fence extension for engineering if engineering approves it to be closer. the applicant's asking for this measurement of 10 feet to actually be from the curb to the residence rather than the property line. And then again, asking for a 24-inch encroachment for architectural elements. And then for a measurement to the fence, it would still be the same 10 foot, but again, measured from curb to the fence rather than property line. And then continuing on, these are additional setbacks that you wouldn't have seen in your original proposal. The applicant along the Paseo in the center of the project, they're requesting a 0-foot setback to the landscape area rather than a 5-foot interior side yard setback as standard. So there still will maintain space between the units as it is next to their Paseo, which you'll be able to see a little more clearly on the next slide. And then for porches, our standard zoning allows porches to encroach up to 6 feet into the front yard and up to 3 feet into the side yard setback, but no closer than 5 feet to the side property line. And they are requesting an encroachment up to 4 feet for porches into the side property line, which normally would be fine, or it's a little bit further, but they are going to get some of the porches on some of the lots will go to 0 lot line or potentially to about 2 feet from the lot line on one particular set of lots. But all those that are 0 feet, and I can point out some of them, they're 0-foot lot line, but they're next to a landscape parcel. So they're still set back from the curb, just not from the lot line. So that is their request for porches. And then in order to accommodate the high density of units and the small lot size that they're proposing, they are requesting a maximum lot coverage of 70%. Besides from those 3 lot coverage, setbacks, and minimum lot size, the project proposal is consistent with all of our other regulations in the zoning and subdivision ordinance. And so as I was discussing briefly, the Paseo here in the center, these lots, they would be requesting a 0 lot line, but as you can see, it's not that the parcels or the buildings are right up next to each other. And then like this lot, for example, I hope you guys can see my mouse at the very top left. This would be requesting a porch encroachment to the property line of 4 feet. But as you can see, there's also this landscape parcel. And so it would be set back from the curb farther than the standard 10 feet on a corner. It's just the way that the lot lines are drawn. They're requesting that encroachment allowance. So that covers the CUP. But because this is multi-family, the applicant's also requesting site and architectural review for the construction of the 14 duplexes and 34 triplexes on the parcels within this subdivision. Again, there's a total of 130 multifamily units proposed. There are 2 proposed elevations for the duplexes throughout the site. There's a farmhouse elevation and a craftsman elevation. And I have here the floor plans for you. Each of the elevations consists of the same floor plan for the 2 units. Each unit will have a 2-car garage on the first floor, a dining, living room, kitchen, and a half bath. And then the second floor of each unit will consist of 3 bedrooms with a master bath, secondary bathroom, and a laundry room. So they're a total of 3-bed, 2.5 bath units. So this is the second floor plan of the duplexes. Again, 3-bed, 2.5 bath. The farmhouse elevation of the duplexes has the entry to the Plan 3 unit on the left side here of the front elevation. It's recessed behind both units' 2-car garage entries, which will face the private road, whichever direction the unit's being placed throughout the subdivision. There's 3 windows on the upper floor of the Plan 3 unit, and this unit has an architectural build-out, a cantilever area on the second floor to break up the facade. Excuse me. And then there will be panel siding that begins on the build out and continues onto the roof peak and the Plan 4 second floor of the duplex. And the Plan 4 unit will have 2 groups of 2 windows on the upper floor, and units which face Buena Vista Road will have some additional panel enhancements which wrap to the architectural build outs of the right elevation, and you can partially see them from this elevation here. The left side of the farmhouse elevation is going to be made out of stucco material. and features multiple windows on the first and second floor. And this is the Plan 3 elevation side. You can see partially the covered entry for the Plan 3 unit with a wooden post from this elevation. Moving to the other side, the right side of the farmhouse elevation features the entry, so a side entry to the Plan 4 unit, which has stucco and horizontal paneling along a decorative entryway and small windows to the left of the first floor. And there's 3 windows that you can see on the second floor of the unit. And then there are also proposed shutter and paneling enhancements here, which would be used on this elevation for units that face Buena Vista Road. The rear elevation of the farmhouse unit will have 2 of these cantilevered build-outs on the building. Both have vertical paneling and a window on each unit. The Plan 4 here on the left has a large central window on the second floor, and this has a horizontal siding enhancement when it's facing Buena Vista Road. And then the Plan 3 on the right has 2 smaller windows on the second floor, which have some shutter enhancements for when facing Buena Vista Road. And the first floor of both units has a rear door into their private yard and a small square window on the left and a large window to the right of the door. The Craftsman elevation, again, has the same floor plan as the farmhouse duplex, but the exterior is made of stucco, and the front elevation and the other elevations will feature some wood corbels in the peaks of the roof and under the second story windows of both of the units. The left elevation also has those wooden corbel features in the roof peaks and under the windows as trim, but otherwise is the same as the farmhouse elevation. The right elevation of this Craftsman style elevation has, again, corbels, and then there's also some shutter enhancements for Buena Vista Road facing units. And then this also contains the entry to the Plan 4 unit on the side. And the rear elevation, again, has those same Craftsman trims and corbels. And then the Plan 4 upper floor window here has some additional trim and shutter features for enhancements on Buena Vista. And then for the triplexes, I apologize. The staff report indicated that there were 2 proposed elevations and floor plans for the triplexes. However, there's actually 2 floor plans, and so a total of 4 elevations. So I'll go over those for the triplexes throughout the project site. So there's a farmhouse elevation and a Craftsman elevation for each of the floor plans. And each unit will have a 2-car garage on the first floor with a dining and living room, kitchen, and half bath, same as the duplexes. And then the second floor of the units on either end for floor plan 1, which we're looking at here, the Plan 2 and Plan 3. And for the floor plan 2, it's actually Plan 2 and a Plan 4. They consist of 3 bedrooms with master bathroom, secondary bathroom, and a laundry room. So these end units are 3-bed, 2.5 baths. But the center unit will have 1 master bedroom and a bath, and 1 junior master bedroom with an ensuite upstairs. So it's actually a 2-bed, 2.5 bath unit in the center of the triplexes. So this is the first floor plan of floor plan 1 with the 1, 2, 3 floor plans. And then again, the second floor of floor plan 1. So 1, 2, 3, with the center being a 2-bedroom instead of a 3. And then the second floor plan of the triplexes has the Plan 4 here instead of a Plan 3. So the main difference in the plans is that Plan 4 actually enters from the side here, but it has the same number of rooms and layout, or not the same layout, but the same dining, living, kitchen, 2-bed, 3-bed, 2-bath. And the second story of floor plan 2.
Eva, this is
So,
yeah. Sounds like your mic is starting to give out. I don't know if it's your headphones or.
Could be my voice. Is this mic better?
That's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so for farmhouse floor plan 1, this is what was described in your staff report. This elevation will contain the entry to the center unit and the entry to the Plan 3 unit here on the right. along with the 2-car garages for each of the units. And the Plan 2 elevation has only one window on the upper floor and architectural cantilever with the central window and vertical paneling. The central unit has a covered recessed porch entry and some small windows on the second floor. There's 2 additional windows here above the garage. And this second floor has horizontal siding as a feature. And then the Plan 3 unit has vertical paneling on their architectural build out as well, with a central window and some additional windows here on the right above the door entry and on the second floor. And then to show the second elevation, which was not shown in your staff report, the main differences between the farmhouse elevation of this one is that the plan 4, excuse me, here has a different window arrangement, and the entry is not located on the front elevation, but is on the side. But otherwise, they're somewhat similar, and this is shown in a different color scheme, obviously. The left elevation of the farmhouse triplex with the first floor plan contains the entry to the Plan 2, and it has a covered porch with some wood posts and a tile roof. And the unit has 2 small windows on either side of the door and some additional windows of various sizes on the second floor. And the only difference between the 2 floor plans is that this second elevation has some additional enhancements, some shutters and some siding enhancements for units that face Buena Vista Road. Moving to the right elevation, this has a covered entry that you can see from this elevation for the Plan 3 unit on the side. And there's some small windows on the first floor of the unit and 2 additional windows on the second floor. And then this side on the right is where you see the main difference between the 2 different floor plans, as this right elevation contains the built out entry porch area for the Plan 4 unit. And it has some windows in different locations because of the different floor plan inside. And the rear of the farmhouse triplex has 2 architectural build outs, cantilevered areas on the second floors of both of the end units. And the central, they have a central window of vertical siding, as you can see. And the end units each have 2 additional windows on the second floor, which have some shutter enhancements for, again, when it's facing Buena Vista Road. And the first floor of the units are mirror images of each other, again, with a rear patio entrance into their yard and a square and then larger window. And then in the center of the elevation, the middle unit has 3 evenly placed units and some siding enhancements for the second floor. And the rear is actually a sliding glass door to their private yard. The difference between the 2 floor plans is that Plan 4 has its cantilevered build out located on the opposite side, also back and forth. So Plan 3 is here, and then Plan 4 is the floor plan slightly different, so the cantilever's on the opposite side. But otherwise very similar to the previous floor plan or previous floor plan elevation. The craftsman elevations of the triplex building is the same main features and floor plan as the farmhouse version, but has the stucco siding and wooden corbels that we saw on the duplexes. So a slightly different accents here. And there's some shutter enhancements that face Buena Vista Road, again, much the same way as the craftsman duplex elevation. So this is the front elevation of floor plan 1. Front elevation of floor plan 2, the main difference again is the entry to floor plan 4 is on the side, and there's a slightly different roof architecture here. This is the left elevation of floor plan 1. Again, very similar, just corbel features, craftsman style features rather than farmhouse. And the left elevation of floor plan 2 has some additional craftsman enhancements for Buena Vista Road. The right elevation of floor plan 1, again, very similar to farmhouse, just with the craftsman versions of features. And the right elevation of floor plan 2, this is where the plan 4 entrance on the side slightly differs with a covered porch entry here. The rear of floor plan 1 is again similar with some enhancements for shutters and portables and trim for Buena Vista. And finally, the rear of the floor plan 2. This has the cantilever again on the opposite side here for that fourth unit. And then we also have a leasing office, which is located in the southern central portion of the project site. And it's right at the entrance to the project if you come in off Buena Vista Road. It contains a covered porch entry and rear covered shade area on the outside here. And it has 2 offices, a work break room and a bathroom, as well as a waiting area on the inside. And the overall theme and materials of this leasing office matches the farmhouse elevations of the duplexes and triplexes. So this is the front or south facing elevation. It has a single window on a wall under the covered entry, and then 3 windows located in the waiting room area. It has a stucco base trim and vertical panel siding. And then the 3 other elevations on the left, this faces to the west and has the main entrance to the building. It has a porch area entrance with some vertical panel siding and stucco trim, and the remainder of the elevation is stucco. There's a small window to the left or next to the door, and some additional windows along the building, as you can see. The right elevation here on your screen faces east, features the covered outdoor shade area, and has some vertical panel accents on the peak of the roof, as well as wrapping around the wall. And there's also a sliding glass door that comes into this outdoor shade area. And then finally, the rear elevation faces north and has some paneling within the peak of the roof here on the wall and stucco for the main body with a few windows. Regarding parking, for section 1718-060, either 1.5 parking spaces are required for each unit with up to 2 bedrooms, or 2 parking spaces required for each unit with 3 or more bedrooms. And then there's also an additional requirement for 1 guest parking space for every 4 units in multifamily development. As stated before, this development has a 2-car garage for each unit, which meets the requirement for each of the 3-bedroom units and exceeds the requirement for the 2-bedroom units, which would be the central unit in the triplexes. The total parking requirement for the units would be 243, and then an additional 34 guest parking spaces, totals 276. And then, 33 guest spaces. And then the applicants proposed additional parking throughout. You'll see some parking areas off of their private streets located throughout the project site. And they're proposing a total of 334 spaces, including 4 ADA spaces, which meets and exceeds the parking requirements for the development. And then they've also been conditioned to ensure that there's a minimum of 10% of bicycle parking spaces, which would be 28 total required. So we'll work with them to make sure that there's some bicycle parking throughout the site as well. For open space, the applicants provided the minimum of 250 square feet of private open space at ground level for each unit. And there's an average of 350 square feet per unit. So that's a total of about 45,500 square feet of private open space. And section 1704-040 requires a total of 500 square feet of open space per unit, and that 500 is divided between private and common. So there's a total of 65,000 square feet of open space required for 130 units. And after you remove the 45,500 that they provided as private, there's 19,500 square feet of common that was required for the project. And as you can see here, in the Paseo and these kind of open landscape areas for the private development, there is about 36,000 square feet of private open space, which meets and exceeds the remaining requirement. So in addition to the private open space within the apartment development, so these larger square feet of open space that's improved passively here, the applicant's also proposing to improve and dedicate an additional 25,460 square feet, so about 0.6 acres here, to expand the Mirabella 2 subdivision public park. And the public park dedication contributes to the applicant's Quimby Act park dedication requirements and is in addition to those multifamily open space requirements of our code. So the improvements to the park do contribute toward the major amenity requirement that we have for large multifamily developments. And so the applicant's proposing to develop a new playground / tot lot within this public park, as well as a dog park for the community. So again, the applicant meets and exceeds the open space requirements of section 1704-040 of our code. Here's a continuation of the landscaping plan showing the central open space area and the expansion of the Mirabella 2 public park. And then I've zoomed in here on the landscaping of the entry to Buena Vista with their traffic circle here, as well as the leasing area open space lawn for the residents. And then here's a zoomed in view of the proposed public park improvements for the 0.6 acre dedication. The applicant's proposing to construct a playground area here with a couple of playground equipments. And then there'll also be a fenced dog park here that extends into the southeast corner of the existing park area off Carriage Road. So overall, the applicant will be kind of redeveloping and redesigning this park dedication to make a big 3 acre park for the community. The following slides are just some renderings that the applicants provided, mostly showing this landscape buffer proposed along Buena Vista Road between the right-of-way and the sound wall. As you can see, you can't see the sound wall to reduce the visual impact of that sound wall along this development. So this elevation is looking east. This is looking west at our private entry road here. Here's an overview rendering of the entrance and the traffic circle, as well as the landscaping. And then finally, a view looking kind of west or north at the entrance. And the multifamily residential units that are proposed for this development are highly desired in the city of Hollister. It's providing much needed rental housing for the community. There have been very few multifamily development proposals overall in the recent years within Hollister, and many of those have been small projects that are about 2 or 3 units, usually less than 5 or 10 units for each project. And there really have been few large multifamily residential projects. There were a couple, including the Vista de Oro apartments and 2 Chispa multifamily developments. But each of those proposals provided affordable housing. And while we understand as staff that affordable rental housing is also highly needed in the community, this project proposes a large number of market rate rental units, which is also highly needed in the community. There are a few existing apartment complexes available at unrestricted market rate income within the community. And those that do exist have long waiting lists and rarely have units which become available. So this project will help to offset some of the need in the community for this type of unit. And again, we do have a few amendments to conditions that staff's been working on with the applicant, but I promise it's not as many as the last one. This condition 31 is proposed to modify slightly the easement condition to require a 6-foot public utilities easement along public frontages, and the applicant and the engineering department will determine when public utilities easements are needed along the private roads inside of the development. Condition 39E, the applicant requested and the city agrees that to remove storm drainage as part of the impact fee condition, all storm drain facilities will be privately maintained. So there shouldn't be an impact fee requirement for public maintenance of storm drain facilities. Condition 63 is regarding a continuous maintenance plan for the private facilities and open space. This just modifies slightly the timing of when they would submit that plan and have it reviewed and recorded for the city. So it would be prior to final occupancy rather than approval of the final map. And then as we previously discussed, the proposed condition 5 is to change all of the setbacks that were proposed to add these cantilever and architectural element encroachments, as well as change the corner to be measured from the curb to the residence and curb to the fence rather than from the property line. And then we'd also like to add a side setback for the Paseo units, again, to be 0 at lot line. And then for porches, just to clarify that porches can encroach into setbacks up to 4 feet. So those are the changes for condition 5 of the CUP resolution. And then finally, condition 12 of the site and architectural resolution is the same condition about continuous maintenance. And so we would be proposing again to change the timing of this. And then also there was some verbiage that didn't match. So this verbiage that's proposed exactly matches the other condition on the tentative map. With that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimony regarding the proposal, and make the following 3 motions. First would be to adopt a resolution approving vesting tentative map 2021-1 with the amendments to conditions 31, 39E, and 63 as discussed. Secondly, adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit 2021-6 for plan unit development with amendments to condition 5 as discussed. And then finally, adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review 2021-4 with amendments to condition 12 as discussed. And thank you. Try to be brief for a very long presentation, but I'd be happy to answer questions. And I believe that the applicant's team is also online. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. I do have a couple questions. Do you know where on the set of plans that we're looking at that they address accessibility? You know how many accessible units are being provided? And I don't see any accessible parking on the site plan. That's one question. The other question is on the setbacks. Am I correct to say that the applicant is asking for a reduction to 3 feet to the face of the garage, and then that would mean that the 18-foot bay projection would be less than 3 feet to the property line? Is that correct?
That would be correct, yes. So it would be 3 feet to the garage and then 3 feet to the residence. And then they would allow those second floor cantilevers would be allowed to come that 18 inches, 1.5 feet into that 3 foot setback. And then the ADA parking is throughout the site. There's one here near the leasing office. There's one located here on the southern portion of the site. There's 4 in total. I'd have to look for them.
So I believe, without really researching the building code, that these setbacks, front setbacks, the 3 foot setbacks, they're primarily at the front, so that the applicant probably is, I think that normally if you're less than 3 feet to the property line, you are not allowed any openings in that wall. But I think because of the drive or the street, I think they're probably getting flexibility there without really getting too far into the technical building code aspects. But normally on the side, for the 5 foot, if you have a porch or a structure anything within 10 feet has to be a 1 hour fire rating with a residential permit, residential occupancy. On the sides, if you're going to have a porch or any structure that is made out of combustible construction, that would have to be protected. But what primarily my main issue is that the only accessibility feature on the floor plan is for the manager's office. I don't see any adaptable or accessible floor layouts. So none of the bathrooms meet accessibility requirements unless they have some programming or some additional information that we're not looking at tonight.
Yeah, we do have the Kuipers, John and Michael Kuiper, who are the developers. They're actually the ones who are currently constructing the Westfield development right next to adjacent to the east of this project, and they actually have these multifamily units spread throughout. This commission, the planning commission approved. There's some single family homes. I think it's a total of 156 units with I think it's like 26 duplexes spread throughout. And so they're going to carry over those just duplexes and triplexes for this project, and they can address
Well, I'm
that
sure
item.
they're very well acquainted with the accessibility requirements.
Yes.
I would like to, is it proper to get their commentary now, or shall I open up the public hearing?
City Attorney Epperson, would that be okay per Chairperson Hubo's question to allow the applicant to speak without opening the public hearing to get the applicant's comments?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would the applicant please address the commission on the questions that I had?
Commissioner Huboy, before we do that, I'm wondering if it might be better if we just ask questions, because there might be other questions that come up that the applicant will need to answer for us. And I'm wondering if it might be better if you just hear from all the commissioners and hear their questions and then ask them, the applicant, to respond.
That's correct. Thank you. Thank you, Roxanne. Yes. Any other questions or comments from the commission on the staff report?
So I have one, I think, quick question, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so my question is just simply about getting into this complex. It looks like there's just one way to get in and one way to get out. So if it's through Buena Vista and it's at that entrance where that big circle appears on the map. And so I just was wondering if the applicant could address that a little bit more. And the reason that I'm raising that is just because of concerns like traffic concerns and, the fact that this project represents like over 250 cars potentially that could be coming in and out of that complex. And so I just wanted to hear a little bit more about the flow of traffic in and out.
Okay. Yes, and we can definitely have the applicant address it, but I will just add, so the main entrance here is off Buena Vista, as you stated, but it also connects through to Carriage Road, which is within the Mirabella subdivision, the Westfield subdivision to the west. And so this Carriage Road is a through road, and then there's a secondary access at Gonzalez, and the Mirabella Westfield subdivision also has northern and two accesses further to the east to Miller. So this subdivision does have two access points. And I will also note that originally the proposal was to have this as a gated community with a gate here and a gate on Carriage. But per the fire department, they requested that it be open. There's nothing in our code to require gated versus ungated, but the applicant did open up these roads. So they will be privately maintained but publicly accessible roads. And again, two access points.
Roxanne, is there any other questions or comments you have?
No, that's it. Thank you.
I'd like to hear from the project applicant regarding the accessibility features.
Thank you, Chairperson Huboy. We do have Michael Kuiper and John Kuiper on the line.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yes, this is Michael Kuiper. I would like to get to the accessibility issues. We actually have our architect on the line, as well as Mark Zonrich in the lobby. But I was hoping to kind of comment on the project more generally. So I don't know if you would like to first speak with our architect about the accessibility, or would you like me to go first?
If you have just general comments, I would prefer that your general comments when I open up the public hearing.
Okay.
What I'm specifically asking for from the project applicant is how he's addressing the accessible requirements.
Right, and he is here in the Zoom, our architect, and he's ready to answer on that, but I don't know if we can unmute him or pull him in. Abraham, that's Mark Zonrich.
Very well. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, good evening. Thank you. To address your question in terms of the accessibility, the Plan 4 units have been designed to be adaptable ADA units. I'm not sure if the like turning radii and stuff were shown on the floor plans, but they are designed to be accessible. In addition to the ADA spaces on site for parking, the 4 spaces, there are 2 that are located by the leasing office, and then 2 in the southwestern corner, or southeastern corner, I'm sorry. And they're notated by the hatched kind of spacing that would be the van accessible space.
Thank you for that. I do know that adaptable units, you don't have to put the grab bars in right away, but they have to meet the clearance requirements, and there are some issues. But I know that a lot of these issues will be reviewed during the building permit stage. It's not for us to really get overly technical, but I have to say is that what we're approving here, I did need some commentary on how accessibility was going to be addressed, because it's a very important issue these days. So, and even at the planning stage, we look at accessible routes.
Sure.
You know, the accessible routes need to be shown from the public sidewalk into the accessible units or adaptable units. So typically we do call for accessible routes to be included on your graphic presentations here. Although, you know, I'd like to see that in the future. Although I know that when it goes through when it's routed through the permit review, they're going to really take a very, very stringent look at that. So this is something I feel, as an architect, I feel compelled to bring up in the discussion, that I did not see the clearance requirements for the adaptable units. So it's just I needed to get your response to that, judging it is important. And you do know that regarding property lines, that if you're less than 5 feet, that you'll have to fire rate projections and also
Yes,
and all that.
yes, we have taken a look at that, and I'm not sure if it was you or someone else notated that one of the ways that the California Building Code looks at it is assumed property lines, in which case when we have an alley or a street, it's assumed to be at the center line of that thoroughfare. Similarly along the Paseo there, there would be an assumed property line in between those structures, and we have taken a look at that.
I think in your fronts, I think there is like there's an exception for the fire rating when you're overlooking a street or public right away of street or alley of such or a drive. So I think your fronts are okay, but I think you need to, on those side ones, you need to pay some close attention to the fire rating requirements on the side setbacks.
Yes, we are.
Okay, and also allowable openings, because you can't
Correct.
You can't have imaginary property line when you're only 5 feet from the fence. So they're gonna, when it goes through 4-leaf, they're gonna ask you to do a calculation on the allowable openings on those side yards.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you. That was. I think we're ready. If any other comments or questions, I'll open up the public hearing now at 21 minutes to 8. Speaker cards?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Hiboy. We do have some speaker cards. We have Michael Kuiper.
Michael?
Hello again, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. Great. Okay. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Michael Kuiper. I am here on behalf of the applicant 1620 Buena Vista LLC. So first and foremost, I just want to thank planning and engineering staff for all their assistance and feedback in preparing the plan before you tonight. Thank you, Eva, so much for that excellent presentation. This project has evolved many times since our first proposals to Planning Commission back in 2015. We're very excited with the final outcome. And if I may, I'd just like to quickly give a bit of background, and then I can turn it back to you if you have any questions about the project. So the applicant is an affiliate of Kuiper Homes. We are a family-owned home building company. We've been in business for over 40 years and active in Hollister for the past 5. Currently, as Eva mentioned, we are building our Westfield project, which is located immediately next door to this 1620 Buena Vista property. For years now, we've been hearing the city express a desire for more multifamily housing. At Westfield, the planning staff actually suggested that we build 26 duet units in addition to the single family homes in the subdivision. For this project, Abraham and Eva asked us to propose a percentage of the subdivision that would be multifamily. We initially agreed on 20%, but then we reconsidered once we started getting public feedback on our duet rental units at Westfield. The duet units have been incredibly well received. As of today, we have tenants in all 16 of the units that we have completed thus far. And so between the success at Westfield Duets and the city's need for more multifamily housing, we decided to go all in. And the plan before you tonight is 100% multifamily with private streets. Just like our duet units at Westfield, the product here is designed to blend in with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. Although this is an attached product, each unit has a 2-car garage and a backyard. So these truly live like single family homes. For Hollister residents looking for the single family lifestyle but not ready to buy a home, these will be a terrific option. As Eva mentioned, we're also adding a 0.63 acre expansion to the Westfield Community Park, including a new playground and a dog park, which will benefit all residents in the area. And also, just so you know, our intent is to hold these units for a long time. Kuiper Homes has built 84 similar attached townhomes in Turlock 15 years ago, also surrounded by single family homes, and we are proud to own those townhomes to this day. We would love an opportunity to do the same thing here in Hollister. And now if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. And we also have our architect, Mark Zonrich, and our engineer, Tony DeMello, if you have any technical questions about the plans. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Michael. Our next speaker is Caroline Tikoniuk.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
I am new to Hollister and my family lives off of Vista View. And we are concerned about the density and the amount of traffic on Buena Vista. We expect that there's going to be more traffic once Westfield is completed, but this seems like a very high density project that will bring a lot of cars and traffic congestion into that one main entrance on Buena Vista. I don't know how feasible it will be to expect people to use the carriage access point on the east side. And even if they do, I think it still is going to be a tremendous amount of traffic on Buena Vista. And to the comment that people in Hollister want to see high density or medium density housing, that's not what I'm hearing in our neighborhood. It seems like a very high dense project. And you said that the previous projects have been just a few units, like 10 units total, a couple of duplexes. This is a lot of duplexes. This is a lot of triplexes. And then all of the requests for changes are to really reduce the setbacks and to increase the lot coverage from 50% to 70% and taking things down from 10 feet to 3 feet and 5 feet to 0 feet. And it just seems overly dense. It seems like a lot of congestion for that area, especially considering the Westfield development. And then also the fact that it's all renters, that it's not going to be any homeowners, that is also not exactly attractive. I think that a lot of people like having neighbors who are homeowners as opposed to a high occupancy of just renters. So those are the comments that I've been hearing in my neighborhood. And those are my concerns after listening to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
We have no more speakers, Chairperson Huber.
No further speakers. I'll close the public hearing now at 7:45. Bring it back to the commission. Gentlemen, Roxanne, comments?
My only comment is like, I have the same concerns that the previous speaker just mentioned. I think it's a great project, and I do agree that we need rental units in Hollister. My concern is the location. Buena Vista has been impacted by a lot of development in recent years, and it's increased traffic and a lot of concerns raised in various forums around that, as well as issues around safety and then schools. So that's my concern. I'm just really concerned about the location. I think that we do need this kind of project because there is a real shortage of rental units. But I'm really concerned about that, the location.
Thank you, Roxanne. There's things that I think that are very attractive about this project. The designs of the units, I think are nicely done. They're extending the park, which is, I think, a major feature on this project, because it gives it kind of a focal point. I know that the traffic, eventually we're going to connect Buena Vista to 156. I think that would definitely, that's in the pipeline. I don't know where we are on that specifically, when it will be done, but it is going to be, I'm sure it's going to be part of the special study area in the general plan that we discussed. So hopefully that'll help the traffic in the future once that connection is made. It is compatible with the zone, the R3 overlay zone. So that's when back in 2005, that's the vision we had for that area. I know Buena Vista is heavily trafficked, but this is based on a community need. We do have certainly a need for rental properties, albeit this is a market rate rental. It would be nice to have some affordability features in it in the future when we get through the general plan update process and we have an inclusionary zone. It's going to change. But based on looking at it from a conformity to the existing land use, the type of project, the type of housing that certainly is needed, and some of the features with including the expansion of the park, I would go along with it, but knowing that there's going to be some, when it goes through the building department, there's going to be some fine tuning on regarding the accessibility that I mentioned earlier. Those are my comments.
Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. I think this is something that the city really needs. It's like the commissioner said, we could use some low income, but we need something, or we do nothing, and then people move further and further away. I like the project. The ADA concerns are important and should be worked out, but it's a solid looking, good looking project. The park being expanded. I mean, the company is showing that they're invested in the city, and if they stay in the ownership role, I think it would be a really good addition to the city. Yes, it's dense, but you've got to do something, I think.
Thank you, Jose. So,
regarding the ADA parking, I know that there's 4 spots, 2 at the leasing office, and then 2, and I believe it could be correct. I mean, it could be incorrect, but I believe it was the southwest corner. I like to see maybe it spread out a little bit more. That way, because it's a pretty large community. I like to see it spread out a little bit. Looks like there is a possibility that it could be done. So I like to see that. I really like the idea of the fact that the park is going to be extended. That's really good. Kids need a place to play instead of going to the school to go park. The one thing that I'd like to see, which I don't think it's necessarily our authority to do, but just a personal comment is maybe instead of just having the play structure, maybe had some swings or something to it, something a little bit different. I have seen some of these play structures in other developments, very tiny, not used. It's very limited in space. It looks like there's plenty of space maybe to add like a swing component to it. I think that'd be great. Again, I don't think that's necessarily in our preview, just a personal comment. To address the issue of, it's not what residents in that particular area are desiring. Like Commissioner Fernandez says, this isn't a perfect world. I mean, I think this is the townhouses and duplexes. I think they're a better option as opposed to apartments, because it does give renters a feel of a sense of a real home as opposed to apartment. Nothing against apartments because they are needed as well. But I do like that aspect. I don't think that it brings down the value of a neighborhood by having these duplexes and triplexes. I don't think that necessarily going to attract a bad element. Just because people are renters doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad people. I think that there's some people that make decent money that just can't afford to purchase. And in my profession, I see that a lot, and it's better than having to live in an apartment. So I think this is a need for our community. I'm glad that we're seeing projects like this come about. As someone who lived in an apartment years ago, if I had something like this, I definitely would have tried to live there as opposed to an apartment. So I think that we're giving people an opportunity to have like a home environment, especially for the kids to have a backyard and those kind of things. So I think that's great. But yeah, I really like this project. I think it's great for our city, and I'd like to see more of stuff like this throughout the city. This is in one area, but it's one developer. Hopefully we can attract more developers to build something like this.
Thank you, Sal. Seth?
I think one of the concerns in regards to the parking was already addressed. That was brought up. This definitely helps a much needed void in which there is no rentals available. Even the past planning manager was in that same situation. Brian Swanson, when he moved here, he couldn't find a place to stay. So I definitely see this as filling that void. The other thing that I like is that the developer has a stake in the game in which he is going to manage it and own it. And there's some accountability with that. So next time they want to do a project or a proposal, you can always look at this and see how well they're maintaining it. So I definitely like that buy-in from the developers to be willing to take on this project and own it as well. As far as the traffic, those are always concerned when there's changes going on. And that's something where the city would have to work with the community to do traffic studies and improvements in that sense. So that way, this is a good quality of life for everybody and the surrounding neighbors.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other comments? I entertain a motion on this item.
I move to adopt resolution approving vesting tentative map 2021-1 with amendments to the conditions 31, 39E, and 63 as discussed.
I have a motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, this is on the tentative map. Jose, which motion is this referring to?
This is the motion number one for the
Motion number
tentative
one,
map.
tentative map, okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hugh Boyd, Jason Epperson again. I'm sorry, if we could do it by roll call, please, each of these.
Yes,
Thank you.
Abraham?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson Huboy. We will now begin the roll call, and just for the record, it is for tentative map, vesting tentative map number 2021-1, which is Planning Commission Resolution number 2021-14. And the roll call will begin at this time. Commissioner Seth Munzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Salvador Mora,
Aye.
Commissioner Jose Fernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens,
Nay.
Commissioner Chairperson David Huboy.
Yes.
Thank you. The vesting tentative map passes 4-1.
Now I entertain a motion for the conditional use permit.
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution approving conditional use permit 2021-6 for a planned unit development with amendments to condition 5 as discussed.
Further discussion? Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second on the conditional use permit. We'll have a roll call after I ask for all in favor to say aye. All in favor, say aye.
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 And we'll have roll call.
Thank you, Chairperson Huboy. We'll begin the roll call at this time. Just for the record, it is for conditional use permit number 2021-6, and the PC resolution is 2021-15. And we will commence the roll call at this time. Commissioner Seth Munzer.
Aye.
Commissioner Salvador Mora.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose Fernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens.
Nay.
Chairperson David Huboy.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes 4-1.
Moves us to the site and architectural review. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make the motion to adopt a resolution approving site and architectural review with amendments to the conditions 12 as discussed.
Any further discussion on the motion?
And that was PC resolution.
Thank you. PC resolution 2021-16.
Thank you.
Do I have a second on the site and architectural?
I'll second.
And I will call for a roll call vote after I ask for the vote. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Roll call, please.
Yes, certainly. We will begin the roll call now. Commissioner Seth Munzer.
Aye.
Commissioner Salvador Mora.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose Fernandez.
Aye.
Commissioner Roxanne Stevens.
Nay.
Chairperson David Huboy.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes 4-1.
Congratulations and good luck on your project.
Good luck and thank you for bringing this project.
Okay. That concludes our public hearing items for this evening. Now we go on to new business.
Commissioner Huboy.
Oh.
I just wanted to remind you of
The minutes?
the minutes.
Thank you.
I knew I was rolling too well there. Okay, I'm going to ask, and I know we have two, Seth and Roxanne needed to abstain because they were absent. But from myself and Salvador Mora and Jose, I'd ask for approval of minutes dated April 22nd, 2021.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of April 22nd, 2021.
Do you have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 I don't think we need a roll call vote for that.
I think we should.
We do?
Let's just confirm. City Attorney Epperson.
Yes, I hate to be a pain. I know it's tough on everybody, but roll call, please.
Is this
Okay.
only, is that only required because
Because of Zoom.
because
and-
Zoom?
Yeah.
is-
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I just
thanks,
wanted to make
Jake.
sure.
That's correct. Yes.
Jason, I appreciate it. Okay, let's have a roll call.
Thank you so much. So I will begin with The roll call now for the minutes of April 22nd, 2021 for the Planning Commission. And we will begin with Planning Commissioner Seth Munzer, Planning Commissioner Salvador Mora,
Aye.
Planning Commissioner Jose Fernandez,
Aye.
Planning Commissioner Roxanne Stevens,
Abstain.
and Chairperson Hiboy.
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes for the April 22nd, 2021 Planning Commission have been approved.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
patience on that. Now we go into new business.
Thank you, Chairperson Hiboy. No new business from staff.
No new business. Okay. Any old business?
Thank you, Chairperson Hiboy. No old business at this time.
All right, you're welcome. Planning Department reports.
We do have Planning Department reports. We would like to announce that the City Council has scheduled a special City Council meeting for June 22nd at the council chambers and through Zoom. It's through Zoom. We're not sure if it's going to be in person at this time yet. It appears that it may be, but to provide that option. But it's going to be for the City Council to listen to the policy implementations for the general plan update, similar to what we listened to on Monday. So it's gonna be live, and we encourage everybody to attend that City Council meeting.
Great, thank you, Abraham.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
Abraham, can you say what the date of that?
Yeah, Commissioner Stevens, you cut off a little bit, but I'm assuming I said you were wanting to know the date, to repeat the date. Yeah, so it's gonna be a special City Council meeting on June 22nd. And the timing, I would have to corroborate with my
It is 6 p.m.
6
p.m.
Normally,
Okay.
the City Council meetings start at 6:30, well, after closed session. So, but it'll be at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And also, just wanted to let you all know that City Council did adopt a resolution, essentially not having any meetings in July. So, and that goes for all commissions as well. So just, we do have our next Planning Commission meeting on June 24th, and that's a regular Planning Commission meeting, but just in case you are looking into possibility of vacation time or whatnot, just note that July, we have no Planning Commission meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gee, with no Planning Commission meeting, what am I gonna do? I think you all know what I do.
You play guitar a little.
Play
more.
guitar, yeah. Or sketch. I like to go sketch. Yeah. All right. Okay, that's my Planning Commissioner report. Any other Planning Commissioner reports?
No, I just like to
Go
thank Commissioner Stevens as well as Commissioner Huboy for their work on the general plan update. It's a huge task that you guys have taken on. Definitely appreciate all you guys' hard work, as well as city staff, everyone involved, including our community members that are part of GPAC. GPAC, yes. We appreciate all your work. We appreciate PlaceWorks for all the hard work, and we look forward to the final product.
Great, thank you, Sal. And I do have one another announcement that on special weekend and remembrance of on Monday, Memorial Day, and I just want to give my heartfelt thanks to all the people that have given service to our country, and especially those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. So that's a very special day, and I just want to say that that we have a memorable Memorial Day for our community.
Great, thank you.
So that.
I wonder if I could just ask a question of the staff. So I had sent an email to Abraham earlier this month about a new ordinance 1202 that was passed by the City Council, and I got some misinformation possibly, or just some misunderstanding about what the ordinance was about. And I was just wondering if the staff could speak to that. And it's about having contact. Okay, so I think it's stated like non-public contact with people of interest for any agenda items. I was just wondering if you could speak to that because I did get some
She
It's
cut
cutting
out on
out.
us.
It's hard to hear. I don't know what she said.
Roxanne, we didn't hear that last part.
Yeah, you were cutting out.
sorry about that. I know I'm having some horrible like microphone and audio issues. I really apologize. I will get this resolved before next meeting. I just wanted to get some information or just an overview of the ordinance 1202 that was recently passed by the City Council. Did you get that?
Yes. Abraham, can you respond to Roxanne's request there?
Yes, absolutely. So the City Council did adopt an ordinance recently, and the ordinance 1202. I'm trying to look it up, but I did. It is an ordinance that was adopted in regards to part of it included the whether the City Council kind of a point of order of in regards to meeting with applicants or meeting with people in the community for projects. I don't have it in front of me right now. I'm not sure if the city attorney may have it, but I remember that email. I remember speaking to our city attorney in regards to that, and the language itself. I'm not sure. I'm trying to look it up in our phone. Commissioner Stevens, if you have it, maybe it would be good to read it out. But I recall the city.
Okay, so I'm going to try to. Hopefully, you can hear. And the part that I want to clarify is that there's some limits put on the City Council's contact with various groups regarding agenda items, and included in that are commissions. So that I'm assuming that's us, right? So I just wanted to ask about clarification around what does that really look like, and what are the limits?
Commissioner Stevens, if I might jump in here for a second, perhaps we can put that on a future agenda and not only talk about the role of the city councilmen and regarding, or city councilwomen, and regarding getting requests to talk about projects prior to public hearings. We can also talk about this planning commission.
Sure.
And some of the issues that we face when we're asked to meet with developers or meet with applicants prior to public hearing. If we can put that on the agenda, would that help, Roxanne? Does that give
Yes.
Abraham some time
Yes.
to research it and get the specific information that you're requesting?
And Abraham, I just forwarded the email that you sent to me with that ordinance. And then I'm wondering if maybe you can forward it to all the commissioners so that then they have an opportunity to review it before next meeting.
Absolutely, Commissioner Stevens. That is a great idea. I can do that.
Thank you.
And have it. You're welcome. And yeah, and we can have we can talk with our city attorney to possibly provide some clarification in regards to that. But in my recollection is that the Planning Commission was able to speak to people from the developers who are interested in talking to the commissioners to explain as long as it is disclosed when the public hearing opens up, the commissioner discloses that they met with the applicant or their team in regards to the project that's proposed. But we can certainly coordinate with our city attorney and have the city attorney potentially clarify that at the next meeting as you requested. City Attorney Epperson, would you like to add anything to that, or?
Only I would agree with what you said, Mr. Prado, and I am getting a little nervous about discussing something that isn't agendized on tonight's meeting, even though it's obvious the commission is not reaching any common mind about an issue. Still, even discussing it, we're starting to get near the edge of something we shouldn't be doing. But we can address it at a future meeting if everyone would like to.
Yeah, I think that would.
Great.
Yeah, that's the best thing. That way we can research it, because I have read through that ordinance, and in my opinion, it's very poorly written because very contradictory as well. So hopefully we get some clarification between now and then.
Right, and I still have my dog-eared League of Cities handbook on being a planning commissioner. I'm gonna look that up again too, because I've looked it up before,
Mhm.
and I just want to quote what it says in the League of Cities handbook regarding that. See what they have to say about it.
Yeah.
Great.
But I appreciate you bringing that up, Roxanne, because that's a very important topic that not only
Yes.
applies to elected officials, but applies to appointed officials such as this body too.
Agree. Mhm.
Okay. Any other reports? Sal? Yeah. Jose?
Got nothing for you.
Okay. I entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Roll
Aye.
call. Roll call.
Do we need a roll call, Attorney Epperson?
I think there's no consequence to doing that one by voice vote.
I'm
That's fine.
just giving it back to you, Jason.
They're
Thank
gonna
you.
bring it back. Call us back tonight.
Thank you for attending and participating.
Thank you,
Can I
everybody.
quickly ask who was the second on that? I'm sorry.
Salvador Mora.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.